Nirmala Sitharaman ji presented today's Union Budget 2022. I would say it's an highly appreciating budget. Budget 2022 adopts a transformative approach for economic growth named Gati Sakti by our government. Promoting fintech, digital economy, education, healthcare has been the focus area of this budget. Yes, expectation of salaried and middle class for increased slab of income tax, deduction under section 80C and the reduced tax rate for individual has not been taken care of. So I can say that it's not an election budget. Felt very proud to hear from our finance minister that India's economic growth in the current year is estimated to be 9.2%, highest among all large economies of the world. The productivity linked incentive scheme, which was introduced back by the government in 14 sectors for achieving the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, has received excellent response with potential to create 60 lakh new jobs in the coming year. You must be knowing that the country is running in deficit, and thus to create funds for capital and revenue expenditure, government is continuously doing disinvestment. Towards the implementation of the new public sector enterprise policy, the strategic transfer of ownership of Air India to Tata has been completed. Even the public issue of LIC is expected to come very shortly, most probably in the month of March 2022. This will be able to overcome the deficit of government to a greater extent. Let's now talk about the plan of government on infrastructural development done in this budget. PM Gati Sakti is a transformative approach driven by 7 engines, namely road, railways, airports, ports, mass transport, waterways, and logistic infrastructure. All 7 engines will pull towards the economy in unison. National Master Plan aimed at world-class modern infrastructure and logistics synergy. PM Gati Sakti Master Plan for expressways will be formulated in 2023 to facilitate faster movement of people and goods. The National Highway Network will be expanded by 25,000 kilometers in 22-23. Rupees 20,000 crores will be mobilized through innovative ways to finance the completion of this public resource. Government is planning to come up with one station, one product concept, which will be popularized in order to help local businesses and supply chain. 400 new generation Vande Bharat train will be launched. Now let's talk about government's plan for farmers. Chemical-free natural farming will be promoted throughout the country with a focus on farmers' land, which is within the 5-kilometer corridor of River Ganga at the very first stage, and later on it would be expanded to other places also. Use of Kishan drones will be promoted for crop assessment, digitization of land records, spraying of insecticides and nutrients. But I am here doubtful whether the farmers would be able to afford the drone, cost of drones. This need to be thought of. Maybe government would come up with certain incentive plans or maybe some kind of subsidy onto drone in order to help farmers to buy these drones. Bigger plans for education and skill development. In fact, I would say biggest plan for education. Due to the pandemic induced closure of schools, our children, particularly in rural areas, and those from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes and other weaker section have almost lost 2 years of formal education. Is it not? One by one or the other variant of COVID is coming in order to hamper the student's life. For this purpose, TV channel program of PM E-Vidya will be expanded from 12 to almost 200 TV channels. This will enable all states to provide supplementary education in regional languages for classes 1 to class 12. In vocational courses to promote crucial, critical thinking skill and to give space for creativity. 750 virtual labs in science and mathematics, and 75 skilling e-labs for simulated learning environment will be set up in 22-23. Is it not enough for education? Still we have more. High quality e-content in all spoken languages will be developed for delivery via internet, mobile phones, TV, radios, through digital teachers. Last but not the least, a digital university will be established to provide access to students across the country for world-class quality universal education with personalized learning experience at their doorstep. Now you understand PM Modi has always been focusing more onto fitness, mental health care program. So National Tele Mental Health program will be launched for quality counseling and making people aware of the importance of fitness. In 22-23, 80 lakh houses will be completed for the identified eligible beneficiaries of PM Awas Yojana, both rural and urban. Rupees 48,000 crore has been allocated for this purpose. In 2022, 100% of 1.5 lakh post offices all across India will come under the ambit of core banking system. Right? There'll be people who have got account in this post offices will have access to account through net banking, mobile banking, ATMs, and also provide facilities of online fund transfer between post office account and bank accounts. Now something new which is being done for passports, the issuance of e-passport using embedded chip and futuristic technology would be rolled out in 22-23. That means citizen will not have to carry the physical passport anymore. Wow! To enhance the convenience of citizen in their overseas travel. The government is committed to reduce import and promote Atmanirbharta in equipment for armed forces. I'll tell you, last year the armed forces equipments were purchased to the extent of 58% from local market and rest was being imported. Now, 68% of the per capita procurement of armed equipment will be from the domestic industry in 22-23. That means a rise of 10% local procurement as compared to last year. So this is in line with vocal for local. Now, the best part, introduction of central bank digital currency, CBDC, right, which is being issued, which is going to be issued by RBI, will give a big boost to digital economy. That means India will have its own crypto kind of currency. I won't say cryptocurrency as because government says that cryptos are not currency, they are crypto assets. So digital currency will also lead to a more efficient and cheaper currency management system. Obviously, the cost involved in printing paper currency is more, right? So it is therefore proposed to introduce digital rupee using blockchain and other technologies to be issued by RBI starting 22-23. That means this year itself. Now, let me tell you about what are the amendments which has been brought under Income Tax Act. So, Income Tax Department has established a very robust framework of reporting of taxpayer transaction. At times it happens that people see a particular transaction which is reported by Income Tax Department and people say, oh my God, government knows this. I thought I went in a hotel, I spent 70,000 rupees which only I know. So in this context, some taxpayer may realize that they have committed omission or mistakes in correctly estimating their income tax for tax payment. So they may change their returns, right? To provide this opportunity to correct such errors, a new provision of permitting taxpayer to file an updated return, what it would be called, updated return on payment of additional tax is now permitted. And this can be done within 2 years from the end of the relevant assessment year. Now, to provide a level playing field between cooperative society and companies, government has reduced tax rate for cooperative society. It is now 15%. Earlier it was 18.5%. Since companies has got 15%, so it has been made 15% for the cooperative societies also. Now, surcharge on cooperative society has been reduced from 12% to 7%. for those cooperative society having income of more than 1 crore up to 10 crores. This has been made very similar to those of the domestic companies. Now, startups are the biggest booster for India's economy. Eligible startups which were established before 31st March 2022 were provided a tax incentive for 3 consecutive years out of 10 years under Section 80 IAC. Right, but in the view of COVID pandemic, it has been proposed to extend this period of incorporation of eligible startup by 1 more year, that is up to 31st March 2023. So any startup which is eligible before 31st March 2023 would be eligible for tax incentive of 100% deduction of income from business. Now, a new section was introduced, 115 BAB, for manufacturing companies to provide tax rate at the rate of 15%. But they need to commence business on or before, manufacturing on or before 31st March 23. Now, this date has been extended by 1 more year. If you commence your business till 31st March 24, still you are eligible for tax rate of 15%. Now, much awaited provision. Everybody was waiting a provision for taxation on cryptocurrencies, right? So any income from transfer of virtual digital asset, this was the word which was used by Nirmala Sitharaman ji, virtual digital asset, I would say it as cryptocurrency, shall now be taxed at the rate of 30%. No deduction in respect of any expenditure or allowance shall be allowed while computing such income, except the cost of acquisition of that cryptocurrency, right? Further, losses from transfer of virtual digital asset cannot be set off against any other income. Further, in order to capture the transaction details, how will the government know whether you have done transaction in cryptocurrencies or not? A very wonderful provision has been introduced. TDS at the rate of 1% will be deducted by exchanges on payment made to the investor. Right. So what I understand from this is, government has set 30% taxation. That means the cryptocurrencies investment is not being promoted by government, is it? As because 30% taxations can only be paid by HNIs, high net worth individuals. It's not meant for common people. So that means what I can understand is the cryptocurrencies are still being discouraged, though the provision has been brought under income tax. Now, one more change, tax deduction limit for state government employees to NPS was only 10%, whereas for the central government employees, the deduction for NPS was 14%. So, government has again maintained a level playing field that whether you are central government employee or state government employee, now you will have a deduction for NPS to the extent of 14%. GST has been game changer for our country, and this January 2022 was the highest GST collection. It was 1.41 trillion, that is 1.41 lakh crore rupees, and this is the highest collection of GST since inception. It very clearly shows that our economy is reviving fast. If I have to sum up the essence of budget in a phase, I would say this would go Indian, go digital, go green. This was a summarized form of budget from my side. Hope this was useful. Thank you so much everyone. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.